Good morning, Junior 6. Today, inshallah, we are explaining past simple versus past continuous. This is not the first time you hear about these two tenses. You studied this last year. Today, inshallah, we're going to go into details about this grammar lesson. I downloaded a very interesting lesson or a very interesting presentation from the internet. We're going to have a look at it and then discuss everything about it. But before looking at the presentation, I have two sentences for you. Let's have a look at them. As you can see, I ate an apple yesterday. The second sentence, I was eating an apple yesterday at 6 o'clock. These two sentences, as you can see, have two different tenses. The first one, yes, ate. This is the past. This is the past simple. And the second sentence, I was eating. This is the past continuous. Yes, correct. Okay. So that's the difference in grammar. What's the difference in meaning? Here I ate and here I was eating. What's the difference? I ate an apple yesterday. This means that the action of eating has finished and it has ended yesterday. But the second one, I was eating an apple yesterday at 6 o'clock. Here I'm talking about the action of eating that was in progress yesterday at this very specific time, which is 6 o'clock. So when I want to use the past simple to talk about an action, you have to make sure that this action has finished and ended in the past with no relation to now or to the present. But if you want to talk about an action that was in progress at a certain time or at a specific time in the past, use the past continuous. Okay, that's so easy for now. Let's have a look at more details. Here is the presentation I downloaded. Let's see what's the first slide is all about. Why do we use past simple tense? So, the use of each tense. The first one, the past simple. You have four uses in front of you. All of them are talking about two main things. We use past simple to talk about completed actions in the past. Yes, we have known this from the first uh, word page. Past simple talks about finished past events with no relation to present. So my action should be complete. My action should have no relation to the present. We usually use past simple tense to tell stories or list events in the past. Actions are always completed in past simple tense. So these four are completed actions have no relation to the present. Okay, that's so easy. But what about the continuous form or the past continuous? We use past continuous to talk about the action in progress in the past. In progress means continuing in the past. That's why we call it past continuous. Past continuous or past progressive. Junior 6, you have two words to describe this tense, continuous or progressive. Is usually used to talk about actions in the background. What do I mean by the background? If you get back to the writing strategies, we use the first paragraph usually when we write a story as a setting to the story. This setting you describe the weather, the place, everything in the background. So usually when you describe the setting of the story, or we call the background of the story, you use the past continuous. How? For example, you say on a sunny day or on a windy day or whatever, the birds were chirping, the trees were swaying, the children were playing. So you use the past continuous to talk about the background of a story. This makes the story more interesting to the reader, so he can imagine what you are writing. Okay. Here, like that's the example I've just said. It was a great day. The birds were singing, the sun was shining, and suddenly a car crashed into the tree, or she phoned me while it was raining. That's the call. That's called the background of the events you are talking about. Okay. Here, when you put when or while in the first clause or the first part of the sentence, you have to use a comma. On the other hand, you do not need to put a comma before when or while if you start second clause. This is related to the punctuation of the sentence that you are using when or while. When and while are very important keywords in this lesson. We're going to go into details in the next video. The next video is all about when and while and as, how do we use them. So I'm telling you here the punctuation of the sentences you are writing. If you start by when or while or as, the comma is added after the first clause. Like when my mother broke the glass, comma, I was listening to music, full stop. But if when or while or as in the middle here, there is no comma added. I just add a full stop at the end. I was listening to music when my mother broke the glass, so there is no comma here. That's for the punctuation. Okay. We have understood the use of each tense. Now, how do we form each tense? The form of it. Of course, the past simple, as you know, we have two kinds of verbs, regular verbs or irregular verbs. Regular verbs, you have the endings at the end of the verb. You have to add ed, ied, or d only. And irregular verbs, there's no way out for them but memorizing. So go, went, read, read, is, was, and so on and so forth. So in your booklet, in your grammar booklet, you have like 4 pages or more, I think, lists of the past simple tense. You're going to memorize it every day. You're going to take a page or something until you memorize it all. Okay. Until you memorize them all, sorry. What about the past continuous? Past continuous is made of was, were, plus ing. So for past continuous tense, we use was or were as helping verbs, and also the main verb takes ing. For example, I was sleeping at 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. So I'm talking here about an action that was in progress or was happening at a certain time in the past. This certain time was 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. So I gave you a very specific time. Or I use while they were having dinner, Elisa came home. And as you can see, there's a comma in the middle because I started with while. Okay. Here there is another piece of advice. Other past tenses such as past continuous or present perfect. We're going to take it into details in the coming term, inshallah, are also completed in the past. However, we do not focus on the completion aspect with them. In past simple tense, we emphasize. Emphasize junior 6 means focus. Emphasize means we focus. So we focus on the completion of the actions. That's why we prefer to use the past simple tense to tell stories or past events. So when you want to tell someone about what you did in the past or yesterday, usually go to the past simple because they all finished in the past. Like yesterday, I ate, I swam, I slept, I called, I phoned, I went out with my friends. So all of them are in the past simple. Here, the example in this slide, we went to a restaurant, called the waiter, and ordered pizza for us. All these 3 actions are completed in the past. So if you have this timeline, this is the past and this is now, all the 3 actions finished before now. So they have no relation to the present. So I went in the past, I called in the past, I ordered in the past. Here, the past simple is the best choice for you, not the past continuous. Okay, that's another thing. Or another tip, we can't talk about states with it. With it here, I'm talking about the past continuous due to its continuous form. If you remember in the lesson or in the video of the state verbs, we said that most of the state verbs do not take ing form. This ing form means any form of ing, present continuous, past continuous, perfect continuous. Why? Because they describe the state. For example, you want to tell someone that yesterday at 6 o'clock, in the evening you were hungry. So you will tell me, Miss, because it's a very specific time, I have to use ing. I'm going to tell you no, because your verb or your main verb here is verb to be, and this verb to be is a state verb. It doesn't take ing. So I was being hungry, that's too odd for us. So we're going to say I was hungry yesterday at 6 o'clock with no problem at all. And the second one, they were understanding when the professor showed his presentation. No, we cannot say so because understand is a state verb, if you remember. So I will go to the some simple past to be more correct. Okay. By now, I gave you or I explained everything related to the form and the use of these two tenses, the past simple and the past continuous. I hope that you understood at least most of what I said, because inshallah in the coming video we're going to explain the use of when and while and as in details, and that's like the trick of the lesson. Now I have finished the presentation downloaded from the internet. Now I'll ask you to go to your grammar booklet, the lesson of the past simple versus the past continuous, to see if the booklet has extra things to highlight. Okay, so here is the booklet, the structure booklet. This lesson is too long in your booklet because it gives you lots of exercises comparing the two tenses together. Okay, hi, yeah, we're close to reach the lesson. Okay, yes, here it is. So the past simple versus the past continuous. The first page in this lesson is telling you the difference between the past simple and past continuous in this table. The table is divided into two columns. This table has most of what we said in the downloaded presentation. As you can see, they compare, or the table compares between the two tenses in the uses of them. So for example, for an action which happened at a definite time in the past, the time is stated, already known or implied, like John and Philip bought a new car last week. When last week, the time is stated, that's in the past simple. But in the past continuous, we're talking about an action that was in progress at a stated time in the past. Stated means a very specific time in the past. We do not mention when the action started or finished. We say only the action was happening at this specific time, like at 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon, they were having lunch. We don't know when they started or finished. We don't want to know this. And all the uses, we set them in the previous online presentation or downloaded presentation. I'll go only for the end of the table. You have the time expressions or the key words used for both tenses. I know that that's not very important, but like it's kind of help for you to differentiate. Past simple, of course. Yesterday is very famous. Then, last night, last week, last year, last month, etc. 2 days ago, in a previous year, like 1989, or when I was a kid, or when I was a child, at the time of dinosaurs, whatever time in the past. But when it comes to past continuous, you have the famous words while, when, and as. You have to notice that while and as are twin sisters. They follow the same rules, but when is a bit different. I have the word all. So all morning yesterday I was studying. All evening yesterday I was eating. All day yesterday I was crying. All night yesterday I was dancing. All day afternoon I was watching TV, etc. So these are the keywords. Here there is like a tip for while, or a note for while. While has to be followed by a long action, which is the past continuous. We're going to go to this part in details, inshallah, in the coming video. When do I use while, as, and when? And the form, as you can see, if you have regular verbs, d, ed, I, ed, and of course you know which verbs take ed, d, I, ed, and the irregular, we're going to study the lists in the coming pages. When it comes to the ing or the progressive past, we use verb to be in the past, was or were, and of course was with I and singulars, and were with plurals, and you plus a verb plus ing. Okay, here in the next pages you have the conjugation of the verb in the past simple. So you have a long time to study this. Like every day we're going to take a page or a page and a half to finish them all. You are familiar with most of them, if not all, so it will be easy inshallah to study them all. As you can see, they are 4 pages and a half. That's for the past simple. Okay, and in the next pages you have the exercises. We're going to discuss this together in the class or in another video here. And they are so easy. Some questions need the past simple only. Some questions need to use the two tenses together, past simple, past continuous. But we're going to go to this after finishing explaining the whole lesson, because what's missing in this lesson is when, while, and as keywords used for these two tenses. Wait for this inshallah in the coming video. Thank you very much and hope to see you soon.